What is up, everybody? You are here for one of two reasons. Either you're just like me and you want justification, commiseration, camaraderie in your purchasing of board games, or you have self-control. Either way, you are welcome here. Today, we are going to talk about this board game haul and all the games I played in summer and fall. All right. So I spent a lot of money and got a lot of games, and we're not going to talk about that. We're going to do rapid fire as fast as I can, one take, getting through these games here. I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts if I've played them or not. It's been a long time. I just have not been able to make content with my job, so I really just want to talk about all the new games to my collection. So I've moved this closer, and I've got two things I want to show first before we go to that pile. I bought the Wingspan fan art pack directly from Stonemaier Games. It is 255 cards with unique fan art. So cute. Oh my gosh. You see some things that are like 6-year-old Micah drew this, or there's Crochet, or this guy I met, he's an Etch-a-Sketch artist, and he's got one on here. Awesome, 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 awesome. Can't wait to play with that Wingspan fan art pack. Next is Spots. I damaged the box myself, which is really a bummer in transportation at some point this summer, but amazing push your luck game with some of the best, cutest dog art I've ever seen in my life. Try it out on BGA. That's where I learned it and got hooked and had to buy it. So Spots, CMYK Games. Trying to find the designer here. I will put it on screen in post. Now we're going to go through this pile from smallest to largest. So the two small boxes here, Sea Salt and Paper, another one of the BGA got me here. This is Bruno Cathala. I have the Pandasaurus version, which should be readily available here in the US. Oh my gosh. I mean, this might be the card game of the year. I know Scout was like a big game last year. I just love this game so much. My wife loves this game, so it just hits the table so much. I've already played it a lot. You'll probably hear me talk about this more, but nice and small and beautiful. That's Sea Salt and Paper. Next is Fuji Flush by Freedom and Freeze and published by Stronghold Games. This is a card game for 3 to 8 players, 15 minutes. I have not played this yet. I've just heard so many great things from awesome channels like Foster the Meeple, Board Game Garden. And so I saw this at my local game store and I was like, why not? Fuji Flush. Next up is a little special because this was actually a gift from my coworker and friend, Jason. Shout out to you. Thank you. A 2-player only lane battler called Radlands, published by Roxy. This is just the base edition and it's so beautiful. Holy moly. Last spring, we actually snuck in a handful of games of this during our lunch break. So that was really great. Awesome, like I said, lane battler, beautiful game. He received a fancier copy as a gift and so handed this down to me. So this is really cool. I'm excited to teach some friends Radlands. Next two are AEG games here, Deep Dive and Point City. I really want to make some content on these on Instagram or YouTube, so stay tuned. I'm not going to say much about them. Nice medium-sized family weight game. I'd say Deep Dive is actually really, really light. And Point City is a nice sweet spot in the middle. I got these from Kickstarter and really happy that I have them. Next up is Forest Shuffle, another board game arena game that has gotten me. It is by Lookout Games. It is designed by Kosh. I hope I'm saying that right, but I mean, this person is awesome. They're basically Beyonce or Cher, so love that. But it is called a tactical card game for nature lovers. So, I mean, it obviously got me. Love this game so far, have really only played it on BGA, so really excited to play this in person very soon. Next, on to the few big boys I got this summer. Biggest surprise for me was Fit to Print. I really want to talk about this game later. This came with the AEG bundle with Deep Dive and Point City, and this is by Peter McPherson, who is the designer of Tiny Towns. Lovely game, and my wife liked this. This is a surprise for us. It has real-time elements and puzzle building. Basically, you're puzzling together a newspaper, and you are anthropomorphic animals. There's so much flavor in the art by Ian O'Toole. Great one. Big surprise. Did not expect to enjoy this one as much as we did. Well, this is the sequel to Cascadia. Or oh my gosh, this is the expansion. Ugh. We're doing it. We're good. 6 minutes of footage. Nothing. This is easy. Easy editing, bro. Easy editing. Okay. Next up is the expansion to Cascadia, Landmarks here. I mean, how beautiful. Illustrated by Beth Sobel. She never, ever misses. This is also by Randy Flynn. Looks like he actually collaborated with the Flat Out Games collab there. Love this. I actually do not know anything about the gameplay. I've kind of avoided content on it. I just cannot wait to sit down and sink my teeth in this. I just got this within the last few weeks, so really excited to add it. It's just Cascadia is one of the best games that I've played in the last few years. It's based in the Pacific Northwest where I'm from, so I just had to get this expansion. And finally, a game that I have mentioned already and played a few times but did not have my own copy, and that is Flamecraft. Beautiful, beautiful game. Art by Sandara Yang, designed by Manny Vega. And this is a beautiful worker placement game with a nice neoprene mat. I think this is a good family weight worker placement game with beautiful art, super, super approachable. And it got a lot of hype last year for a reason. Flamecraft. Flamecraft. All right, so I want to talk about the top 5 games I played for the first time this summer. Hey, you stuck around after the haul. I'm really proud of you. Let's just keep that momentum. Why don't you just hit subscribe? You know, it's easy, easy click. I am an educator, so this summer is a little elongated because I've been busy in the beginning of fall. It starts June 8th all the way until Halloween. So I used BG Stats to get this data here. In this time period, I played 203 times, 67 different games, 20 of which were new to me. So of those 20 new games, I just wanted to talk about the 5 that really stuck out to me and share them with you here in my roundup. So number 5 is a button shy game, and that is called Food Chain Island. I had not played this game yet before this. It is a solo game, and I'm always intrigued by button shy. 18 cards. How do you make a fun game for 2 people, let alone a solitaire game with only 18 cards? And so how this one works, it is designed by Scott Alms. By the way, he's kind of the master of the solo games. He makes Ugly Griffin Inn, which I love, and Beer and Bread, which is a 2-player game. How it works is it's on a grid system, and it is numbers 0 through 15, and you are all these different animals, and it's an ecosystem, and you're trying to eat lower numbered animals on the food chain by just hopping on them, and you're creating from a 4x4 grid, you're creating as little piles as possible. And it's such a little puzzly game, and I can totally see me bringing this, you know, on a train or at an airport, or if I had a lunch break. It is a great little game. I did get to play with a handful of the expansions, and they were really cool. So it wasn't just 18 cards. I did try with a couple of those, but really, really simple, but puzzly and endlessly replayable, I would suspect. So that is Food Chain Island from Button Shy. Number 4 is a game that I got to play at a local con with one of my best buds. He is a big fan of gardening, so I was trying to find a game that he might like. He's definitely more of a medium weight gamer now. He's been playing a lot with me, and so one that I had heard a lot of good buzz about is called Three Sisters. And so I want to actually just read the description from the website because I think the inspiration, the real life inspiration for this game is really cool. So here it is. Three Sisters is a strategic roll and write game about backyard farming. Three Sisters is named after an indigenous agricultural technique still widely used today, in which 3 different crops, pumpkin, corn, and beans, are planted close together. Corn provides a lattice for beans to climb, the beans bring nitrogen from the air into the soil, and the squash provides a natural mulch ground to cover to reduce weeds and keep pests away. So there's your agricultural history lesson. We'll do this every week from now on. This game is just the definition of combos on combos on combos. If you like those crunchy roll and writes where you get to roll the dice, mark one thing off, and that'll trigger another thing to get marked off, another thing to get marked off, this is the game. My buddy loved this so much, he bought it immediately. I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm glad that he has it because I would really love to play this more. The solo mode is very praised as well, so it is a great roll and write. I can really see why people love it so much, and I'm glad to have played it and glad to have inspired one of my friends. All right, number 3 is another game that I've only played solo, but I really got to sink my teeth into this one this summer. Full disclosure, it was sent to me for review by Fort Circle Games, so thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. This was my first historic game, my first war-like game. If you watch the interview with the designer Candace Harris did over on BGG. I'll link that in the description. Great inspiration for this game about the women's suffrage movement. The art is insane. The production is insane. It's so great. Designed by Tori Brown. And there are dice and cards and a lot of area majority to simulate this historic moment in U.S. women's history, in U.S. history. And it is really cool to play solo because you play versus the Oppobot, which is a deck that plays the opposition. I don't know who would really want to play as the opposition. It kind of feels bad, man, but I think it's cool that there is the option there. I really enjoyed playing solo as the suffragist trying to win. I learned so much about American history, about Black American history, women's American history, Native American history. It is really one of a kind game, and I would recommend to anyone who wants to be educated or wants to get an entry point into a war game but doesn't really like the military part of it. It's very much area majority and a big beautiful map of the US, which is consistent with war games over the last few years. So really appreciated Votes for Women, and so glad I got the copy, and it was one of the highlight games for me this summer. Number 2 on my list is Next Station London. This game got on my radar because it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. And I was like, okay, flip and write game, small box, it's on Board Game Arena, let's try it out. Tried it out, played about 4 or 5 games and said, yep, I'm buying this immediately. It is just so puzzly and lovely. It is the greatest like multiplayer solitaire game I've played in a while. If you want a game that has like 0 interaction, if you're that type of person, you really might want to try this one out, especially because it has a nice crunchy puzzle and you have to be forward thinking, but you also have to react to what is flipped. So it is a flip and write, and you are creating 4 subway lines, also known as the Tube, in London, and they're represented by these colorful shapes, and when the card is flipped, everyone has to draw a line to that shape. Really simple and straightforward, but I think this game is endlessly replayable. It is great solo, it is great with multiple people, it's great in person, it's great on BGA. It is my most played game in this time period. So I think that says a lot about how much I'm really enjoying this. It has definitely shot up in at least in my top 50 games of all time because it's just so enjoyable. And I just want to shout out the designer Matthew Dunstan, who also made Guild of Merchant Explorers, a game that also was a little unassuming, but when people played it, they loved it. I actually gifted it to a friend of mine last Christmas. Blue Orange did a great job publishing this and making it in this nice compact box. I love the minimal components. It's basically just a notepad, the cards that you flip, and some bonus cards, and 4 colored pencils. So I would say Next Station London has been a real hit in my household, and I would actually recommend it to anyone. And I think that's why it got nominated for the Spiel, because it is just so inviting to many people. I have a review that is dropping right now on my Instagram, so check that out and you can read some more about my thoughts on it. So you hear my glowing review of Next Station London, that it's my most played game. You read the review on Instagram and hit like. What game could be more, impressive to me? And so none other than the granddaddy of all TCGs, and that is Magic the Gathering. So check this out. This is like one of my bundles here. I also have a deck box I want to show you with one of my commanders in there. That's Kaikar for the Magic nerds. Wow. Where do I even start with this game? It is a 30-year-old TCG, and I have never played it before. And so one of my friends was just recommending it this summer. He was really getting into it, and I was like, all right, let me try this out. And now, a few months later, I have probably hundreds of cards and 5 working commander decks, and I've been to 2 pre-release events. It is really amazing. I totally get why this is so many people's just straight up personality. But a couple things I just want to highlight about it is, one, Richard Garfield, holy moly, this game is 30 years old and he designed this thing that has just blown it up into this phenomenon. But like, I had heard about Richard Garfield from his other games too in the board game space. King of Tokyo, one of my favorite games. One of my favorite gateway games, Bunny Kingdom, which I've tried on BGA, and so many other great card games that he's made since then. But really, the thing that really struck me is playing Magic the Gathering after having played so many games that were inspired by it is really surreal. My coworker calls it Magic the source code. You know, all these terms like mana and tapping and summoning sickness. I've heard about it from all these different games. Marvel Champions, my most played game of all time, is basically just Magic with Marvel superheroes, but cooperative. I just cannot believe that I waited so long to get into this space. It is so great to play Commander, which is the 100 card 4-player free-for-all mode, which is a lot more casual, and that's probably what I'll stick to. But their deck construction is just so amazing in 2023. I'm coming into a game with over 40,000 cards, and you get to just kind of let your creativity run wild and try all these different decks, and new cards come out like every month. And on top of that, they have all these intellectual properties. The Lord of the Rings set is really kind of what brought me in and a lot of folks in this year, but they did Doctor Who, and they've got Jurassic World cards coming. It really kind of blows the mind to see how big this phenomenon is. And I've really enjoyed getting into it. My wallet has not, but Magic the Gathering has kind of taken over my interest lately. And so I'm really trying to ease back into playing board games, you know, as much as I want, and keeping a nice balance. I don't want one or the other to take over, but it seems like MTG will be my TCG of choice for a while, and I'm just so glad to have played it. You know, maybe if you're a Magic player, I would love, comment below, would you want to see a video, top 10 games if for Magic the Gathering players? I think I would really have fun coming up with all these other games that I've played since Magic that I think now, if you're just a Magic player, you might find interesting. So I've been really thinking about making that video. Comment below if you think that would be interesting. So number one for me, first time this summer, is Magic. Thank you so much for watching my summer, fall, roundup, and haul. I really appreciate you sticking around. If you're still here, it would be awesome if you could leave a like or comment or share. It's been about 3 months since I've posted a video, so that would really help kickstart, get me back in the algorithm. Regardless, I am grateful for you, and I have lots of content on the way. See you soon.